self-taught since 2017. I had no mentor, no blueprint. I've created 7 millionaires and counting since 2019. This is Infinity Loop. Let's get into it. But how do I automate everything to run without me? Because everything being able to run without me is where the icing on the cake was. So I got to be able to hit these intro videos for people that's just starting, have group session rules, a full site walkthrough just in case people don't know how to use the site, an AI trade journal so that they can automate their trades. The actual stuff people like to do when they trade. I was never really a big journaler, I would say, because I always was more leaning on the side of watching myself trade. I would record myself trade, and then I would watch my recording of my thought process. That's how I journal, because English wasn't my biggest subject, so I guess I like pictures and shit. But I'm excited for this year, even though I don't have y'all in this group just yet. I'm gonna put y'all in here on Wednesday. I was just testing it out, so I was looking at all this last night on like putting my anticipation in, because there's a section for me to talk in, but there's a section for you guys to talk in too if y'all wanted to. But it kind of just helps bring everything off baseline to really just take the serious traders even more serious. And then y'all sessions. Oh yeah, the group live sessions. It'll be like clicking this button right here. So it's like you won't even have to look for the link anymore on our Saturday sessions with the group and everything, because it'll just be right here. Everyone can click on it, even me, so on and so forth, and then trader quiz and stuff. I think I implemented everything greatly this time to where it's not going to be as difficult, I guess, moving forward for everyone at the end of the day, because I guess the easier I make it, the more the simpler I make it, the better for you guys to understand. And that's exactly why Austin, he made $1 million in 9 months compared to my learning curve was like almost 2 years. You know what I'm talking about? Because I had to search around for the right answer. But, he got the right answer just right off of my experience level. Because if he didn't trade in 2018, he wouldn't know what the 2018 market looked like. I was actually looking between the oil pairs last night, and I had noticed, because I was looking at the dollar in the 70s and stuff like that, and I was trying to see if they had that for oil, and I could not find a chart that had oil all the way that far back. So that's why I say that price
How
action.
far back were you trying to look?
I wanted to look as far as the dollar went, the 70s. Because I was trying to see, how I was looking at the pattern of this time period, and I could see it got weird, but falling from a low is bad and falling from a high is normal. They basically made it to where it fell from a high is normal, but it could have fell right here. 2008 could have happened in 2006. Fundamentally, they were holding it up, and things didn't get back in order until 2010. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. But I think everything is a picture. Like, everything lines up, even like the world order and stuff like that, because it's like I have never, I guess I could say I haven't always been hip to like the petrodollar, but I've always traded with that mindset, and people never understood what I was talking about, and I didn't understand how to articulate it either. I just knew what I was looking at on the charts, and I knew what my experience level was when it came to the dollar and oil. And I remember trading the oil a lot in 2018. I had even blew my rent money one year and had to go live with this old lady in I was like renting a room in Flower Mound. And this lady was crazy.
Man, your story definitely is. I'd have to say, you've encountered quite some difficulty. Truth of the matter is, we tend to think that our own story is more difficult than others because we're having a subjective experience. But man, from an objective point of view, damn, you went through some major struggles, especially with having a kid and having to deal with your family.
Yeah. And that's why I think I'll be having to watch it sometime, because I just have that no matter what factor, I guess, that why are you quitting? Because it never crossed my mind. I didn't have a choice. It was so bad to where it's like everyone's rock bottom is different, and I think my rock bottom could have been worse, because there is worse. There's somebody that got it worse out there. I'm not gonna say that. You know what I'm talking about? I always try to think of it like that. Like, there's someone that does have it worse, but the only thing that
not everybody even has a rock bottom. For some people, what you assign to be a rock bottom, that's just until they hit their next rock bottom. Some people just never emerge from it.
Yeah, it's like their life is on a downtrend. It's like they literally 2006 to 2008, but look, the US don't want to, I mean, well, GBP don't want to be on a downtrend like that, looking from falling from a low point. But it's like it's really that factor of playing a part in everything. Of people got to look at the keep going no matter what, because even us being on Zoom, you know, I'm articulating why I want to be a seller in this market. I understand what's going on with the account, but people got to understand my thought process. But it's like it's impossible to sit there and talk to people all day every day, so they either have the faith or they don't. The faith is the one thing that I can't teach, I can only show. And that's why I started realizing that I could only share my experience to teach them faith. And then from that experience, from that story, I tell them, you know, whatever my experience was, then that should give them faith, and they should practice, I guess, what I'm saying over and over again until it makes sense to them, because that's exactly how I got to this level. On every single Sunday when I was learning, I would mark out every single chart every single Sunday, because Sundays I worked the morning shift at like Brio Tuscan Grill. So I mean, Sunday night going into like 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm getting off. You know, Aubrey's a newborn, but you know, me and Justin, we had shared a room. I mean, not like a room, but an apartment with my sister and her boyfriend. So like 4 of us in this 1 bedroom apartment. That's what people don't understand. I just like, I got the right answer. I could tell y'all some stories of me being poor, but I don't know if those. I guess sometimes the stories would help, but not really, because I understand people's issue is they really just not paying attention. They're really just not disciplined. At the end of the day, they need to have a deeper meaning as to why they're going to continue to do this, because in trading, people fail 99% because they really run out of money before they ever get to see any success in it, if that makes sense. Because technically, my second trade ever, I ran out of money, because my first trade, I put my half of the rent money in there, my $800. I turned it into like $1,200 in 5 minutes. So then I got $2,000. I should have took it. It's the first time in my life I had 2,000 whole dollars together. Like, this wasn't even tax season yet. Like, that was my first year Aubrey being born, so I ain't never had no taxes like that either. The big taxes and shit. On like one lump sum. So I'm just like, since that was the fastest I had ever got money all at once, I just kind of kept going with it because of that aspect. Nobody could tell me nothing different, because I never seen anything like it before.
Question: Did you go on a spending spree when you really started making excellent money?
No, not really. I needed to pay rent and stuff. I had a $500 car. I was trying to get stable. Well, I didn't go on a spending spree going crazy. No, I needed stability in my life. So I was really just buying stability, make sure I had the apartment set up, paid the rent and the utility bills a year or so ahead, and that's how I gained the stability. Because at some point, people got to be able to take that stuff off the table, because it's like I've always had dogs, and then I've had Aubrey since, you know, I've always had dogs and Aubrey since I was a trader. I could say that. So it's just like, it's one thing if you as an individual is suffering and going through it. It's like a different kind of pressure when the kid is hungry and when the dogs is hungry and you ain't got no dog food, and you know what I'm talking about? So that's why I believe in taking stuff off the table, because I know where my mindset gonna be if the kid ain't ate, or if the dogs ain't ate, so on and so forth. Because it's just a matter of, you can't risk it at that point. It's gonna be impossible, because you got too many people depending on you. So it's just like, if I feel like the more responsibility people have and the mindset they have is not the mindset that I wouldn't say they curse with. It's just the mindset that they have of the natural world has molded. So it's like their mindset is already wrong. So it's like it takes a lot more for them to get where they need to be in trading, and they have to understand that sacrifice. So the sacrifice that I had was, I just wasn't buying fly shit right away. But then in the same breath, I was trying to find ways to free up money. So I made the food stamp swap. You know what I'm talking about? I was trying to not spend money on food and only have my food stamp card. And then I was buying food with that only. So between Aubrey and me, that's like 500. So then it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about food. So now I just got to buy dog food. What? That's like 100 a month. See, I'm trying to price out 100 a month. I remember one time I had asked my mama for $100 because the cat was sick. Man, I was mad, nigga. Like, she didn't want to give me $100. I was pissed. I held a grudge with that for a long ass time. So it's just like, I never thought I would be where I am. It's not something that I don't know. Like, success leaves clues. Like, when the account challenges and stuff come, I'll be expecting and anticipating when that's happening, but I'm looking at the rules of the market. Back then, I didn't know what this was going to come of, because I didn't have nobody in my environment that was in the situation of successful off of assets. You know what I'm talking about? That was something that's new to me. So I would say me articulating how I was in 2018 and 2026 is the exact same way I felt back then. Of I just didn't know I was in the chaos for real. I was just trying to do whatever I could, and what I could do was trade. I remember having my $1,000 days, and I had just got fired from one of the jobs at Brio Tuscan Grill. It's actually July 3rd.
Mm.
July 3rd of 2018. It's like I was trading long enough to kind of got in a good grasp on it, but July 3rd was a big day for servers because we had the fireworks show going over there in Southlake. So they fired me or suspend me July 3rd, and I'm pissed because I don't have rent money. Like I have a job, but I still don't have rent money again. It's the 3rd. It's already supposed to be paid, so I'm thinking, oh, I'm finna make $1,000 at work, so on and so forth. I get suspended, and then I go home. I trade USD MXN. I can't remember if it was a buy or a sell, but I remember trading USD MXN overnight session, and I had made $1,000. And I'm like, I don't need you niggas no more. Fuck y'all. And so I mean that's really the gist of it. So it's just like my experience was I was never just trying to switch trading for a job. It just always happened that way. Of I was getting fired and trading came through type shit.
And that's the thing, that trading, in my industry, one way I know I'm going to be a successful trader is I've succeeded in an industry where 98% of people quit. I mean, I've had years where I've made $250,000, $500,000, and a lot of that money, I do have long-term investments, but a big chunk of that money went to taking care of my parents, like my mother being in a nursing home, and then my father, back in 2023, he was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and this was during a time when, one of my cats had gotten seriously ill too. So one thing I've come to realize is that people are always looking for the next job. And it's funny when you see people, like, say, on social media, no one celebrates for you when you start your own business, but people are always clapping for you when you say, oh, I got so-and-so position at this company. And, with all the layoffs that are happening, at the end of the day, no matter what you lose, trading is always going to still be there for you. Like, for example, Chris Terry at IML, he lost $100 million. He can still make that back. You've got
it's almost like his day-to-day doesn't really change either. I started noticing is like even more success of when my day-to-day didn't change depending on the wins and the losses. That's when I started realizing that I was more successful than I thought I was, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
But no, yeah, you're right. You completely right. People just need a deeper meaning to their why, because it's just, to me, I couldn't fathom the idea of, I knew what it'd take to get to this point. I couldn't fathom leaving that for my daughter to understand for herself. But at the same time, it's just like, and people think of it, and like you said, they get excited when you get hired for a new job, but it's just like, even the way of that trading, once they get like successful at it, it's still a job because of the way you got to structure it. Because I remember I used to make that mistake when I was a new business owner, and I'm walking into banks and shit, telling everybody I'm a business owner. They, most businesses fail, so they laughing in my face. They trying to see if I'm serious, but it wasn't until I tell them I'm an employee of my business, to where it's like that's the only way you fit into the foundational rules of the world. You know what I'm talking about? I have to identify myself as an employee of the business rather than the business owner, because there's more hoops to jump through once I'm the business owner. Like, there's been times I done walk, and this is I remember this was in 2021 actually. I bought a new car. I walk into the dealership and I get the car that came off the truck that morning. And I'm talking about, they not believing I make $100,000 a month type shit, until I say, okay, I could log into your computer on Bank of America. You could go to the site. I'm going in, and that's my account statement. They let me go out that motherfucker so fast with that car. They couldn't believe their eyes, because they was like, well, what do you do? It always goes back to that. But it's just like, people only believe it once it's already done. And it's like, it's no matter of how much heads up you give them, they're not going to understand until it's done. But by the time it's done, it's too late. So it's just,
and that's like, really the reason why.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just personally feel that I don't want to, like, you choosing to teach people, that is your, I mean, I salute you, because I remember I was once in your position when I had built my insurance agency up large, so I was teaching people, but I became so burnt out just from I mean, the biggest lesson I learned is that most people will never change because true change is far too difficult. And because
Yeah.
every life experience we have imprints on our nervous system in some way, shape, or form permanently, truth
Mm-hmm.
of the matter is, for like, if you've ever gone to a Tony Robbins event, the inspirational speaker,
Mm-hmm.
there was a study done on how many people actually take his advice and make a life changing decision to change their life. And it only came out to, it was about 2.5% of the 100,000 people on average who attend his events. So you can call me a misanthrope or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's just you have to accept that at the end of the day, out of those 100 people you teach, really only two or three are going to really get the gist of it. Because when it really boils down to it, Naomi, when you really go beyond trading, you're not just teaching trading, you're teaching transformation, you're teaching transfiguration, and you're always sprinkling those words in between everything you say, but people really miss it because at the end of the day, it's not you becoming a better trader, it's really you becoming a better person,
Become a better
the kind of
person.
person that will
Yeah.
create the trader you need, create that. So I get that. There is
Yeah.
definitely method to your madness. Not to say that you're mad, but then it's to how you speak. People may not, but you just have to really listen to the meaning in between your words.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's like, I don't know. I think people misinterpret me. I'm just more of like a tough love. I really don't. I take everything people say with a grain of salt. Like, I really don't care, if that makes sense, because I've been doing this so long. But it's just like a matter of, I know what it's going to take for them to be successful in this. And I'm at to the point to where I'm like, you do this or you don't, but I'm not changing it. That's how I am. But people take it as it is bad blood between us. I'm like, no, it's literally you do it or you don't, because that's what's gonna stop the burnout. Because I could say I took the hiatus last year and I was fine with the business shutting down and stuff when the payment processor went down, because I was like, well, I'm tired anyway, shit. I'd already done so much, so I just took a break. But at the end of the day, it's just like it with correct systems, it's just like you said, only two or three out of 100 is really gonna make it, because 99% is not going to even try, because it really does take, it's bigger than just the technicals, it's bigger than ascending and descending wedges, it's the thought process, and not even the mind management, it's the self management. They can't manage self, so they're gonna have a hard time managing them in the market, if that makes sense. And I think I get the biggest account flips because I do have a thesis that I'm looking at as far as patterns in the market and the relationships between countries and what they're deciding to do. I don't focus a lot
Mm-hmm.
on fundamental analysis, but I do and don't in the aspects of, I'm looking at the macros of fundamentals. I don't care about the micros, and the micros to me is that FTMO. I'm not FTMO. The damn, I forgot what it's called. But unemployment, stuff like that, PPI, CPI, all the regular that come in week to week, day to day. Every single country is having that every single week, every single month, every single day at some point. Some matters more than the others, but if I know that everything is backed by the US, I just simplify everything for myself. But that's even outside of the market. It's me as a person. So people don't understand that me as a person, I simplify everything in life too, on even the style of grocery that I take. Like back in the day when my mom used to grocery shop, she used to try to shop in accordance of meals for us day to day. But I shop in accordance of protein and then veggies. And then if I need a special meal, I'll kind of go to the store for that day and get those ingredients. Because in the household, it's really just me and Aubrey. So it's not even a aspect of, how do I say, me cooking a lot of food all the time. So we're mostly okay with having a meal. She asked me the other day, she was asking about she homeschooled. So she was saying, oh, 3 meals a day. Because for a while she was in school up until the last like year and a half, 2 years almost. But she's growing more as a homeschooler, because I just talk to her like a regular person. There's no baby talk because it's just me and her here. So I can see the growth in her here, but I can see, like, you can see kind of the her light in her eyes light up when she hears something that someone hasn't said before, but I'm saying. And she was talking
Mm-hmm.
about 3 meals a day concept, and she was like, "Well, Nana Papa said we got to eat 3 meals a day," and I said, Aubrey, you don't really eat 3 meals a day. It's almost like you're forcing yourself to eat. I say, but if you have candy for a snack, and then I feed you something that's like high in protein, like you eating like strictly like chicken and barbecue, you really end up hungry less. I don't know if she ain't noticed, she only ate, but she noticed that the 3 meal a day concept at different places, and I feel like it's really not necessary to have 3 meals
Mm-hmm.
a day. I'm trying to figure out who started that. But it's like a difference in opinion. So she growing up around me 90% of the time, but 90% of the time when I was a kid, I was growing up around others. And I guess that's from the standpoint of why I was saved also. Because even with my mom's condition and stuff like that, like this could have been all bad. You know, I could have turned out awful, you know, but I wasn't in that aspect of her being my primary source of knowledge. So it's like I was around enough regular people to where I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know how to articulate it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And when you look back, hindsight's 2020, you realize that even toxicity become normal, but it's only when you look back in that situation, when you're out of that situation, you realize how toxic it is or was.
Yes, and that's what the growth is. So growth as a person and growth as a trader is it's all the same. So people like when I say, well, I think I posted earlier that I hate doing weighted cardio, but I also don't want to be fat. It's probably how people feel about trading. So I don't want to learn the rules of this every single day, and nor do I have time. But I have time. They do have time. They're just not making the time because it's not what they want to do. Because you try to say Love Island coming on. I ain't never seen Love Island, but I hear everybody talking about it. You say Love Island coming on. I don't never hear nobody missing nothing of that. But it's just like I used to time myself when I was first
Oh,
getting
those
into the market.
ridiculous reality shows.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't. I don't even watch TV. I just watch YouTube. I like podcasts and I like to educate myself because the self education is where the money is. And that's why they say I understand now why they say you'll make a fortune, because it really is that, because it leads me from one rabbit hole to the other rabbit hole and then the past rabbit hole, and I tie it all together in a bow tie. I'm like, wow, that's the perfect package, because it really is the perfect package. And then everything from that, it's like you only got to learn it one time, just like learning how to ride a bike. You learned it one time. It's like, but once you have perfected it and mastered it, you're not learning it again. So I like when people say they take breaks off trading, I don't I try to sit there and think about if I ever took a break trade. I've never taken a break trading. If anything, I take a break talking from people. I don't see a reason to take a
Yeah.
break. So on YouTube and stuff, I haven't really said anything. I was getting ready to, but I was more going back and forth of I want to complete the challenge because I think I've done a lot of teaching on YouTube and I didn't sign up to mentor these niggas for free for the rest of my life like that. You know what I'm talking about? So everything is up on the site. So then it's like I could get back into my original, you know, what I've been doing, like mentoring you guys, because everything is ready. It's almost like everything is lined. It feels good. I feel like it's like the perfect harmony of something about to happen. I just don't know a matter of when, but I'm also okay with when it happens. I just know what I'm looking for in the market, and it's my only job at this point is to stay stable. You know what I'm talking about? Stable in mindset and stable on my approach, because it's like if you ask 1,000 people, you're gonna get 1,000 answers. That's why I don't ask nobody, because I'm over here doing the impossible stuff. So why would I ask? You know what I'm talking about? That's how I feel, because it has to be that leader mindset. It's a little bit egotistical, but it's like a matter of confidence. And I think it's a very thin line between confidence and ego, but it's needed in the success, because I cannot trade confidently while asking at the same time what somebody thinks, because as soon as their thought process enters my ecosystem, it's going to fuck me. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
And that's why I don't watch the news, and that's why I do the groups like I do it, because it's just a matter of people want you to manage their anxiety, and people don't understand when it comes to human emotions, there is only so many human emotions. There's not a new set of them. So when they put them in the market, it's the same human emotions they never learned how to manage outside of the market in the first place. Because there's crazy ass people in this world, you know, that's out in relationships, outside of relationships, that would do crazy shit. Like I had one ex that believed in eating moldy bread. I don't believe in that shit. So it's just like, obviously we're not gonna have the same trading bias. It's even down to a science of that to me. When people make different decisions in life, I assume they thought process would be this situation in the market. That's how I see it. So it's just a matter of I see everyone's perspective, but I also see in every situation, every single time I approach this market, every time frame, I can see a reason to buy and a reason to sell. It's a matter of what reason do I believe more. And although We did sell last night. We started with a small account. I'm not going to change my sell bias just because it took some positions, because the main bias is a sell, because it's the sale, but Monday played a part in it. I'm not gonna say Mondays is cursed, but I will say in 2020, all of them, 2021, 2 and 3, when I had a personal trainer, I used to have such a hard time on Mondays that I would put my personal training session on Monday, so I went into the goddamn market. So, so it's like experiences like that of, it's like I would check and balance myself, but the entire world is a system of checks and balances against each other. And if they don't understand petrodollar and what the significance is of the relationship between the dollar and oil, they're not gonna ever understand why the fuck we give a fuck about Mexico. They have oil. We need them niggas. They never gonna understand why we care about Canada. We need Canada too. They're the nearest to us with oil. We need both of them. We're gonna be on that side. Let me see. When it comes to the aspects of Saudi Arabia and being in the other countries, and why do we have to go in that country? Cause niggas, y'all don't understand. This shit it's like a domino. Y'all know how to play dominoes? Y'all ever play Jenga? Somebody pull this fucking block wrong, this whole tower gonna fall. So it's really that. It's like OPEC is really the cartel, and if they don't look at it, like, I like to watch the crime shows whenever I'm working and stuff like that. But it's just like people understand the body cam footage, but why don't they understand what's going on in the world? It's all the same thing. So just I just say pay closer attention to it, because that's the conviction behind it all. And that's why it's just like, even when it looks like I'm losing, I'm like, no, it's all the systems are in place of that. Now I still have the mindset. I have an added system of this website, and the system matters more than the customers, because once the result is there, the customers will come anyway. But people will switch it backwards and say focus on the customers. The customers are fickle, and the customers, like you said, most of the time, they don't have the discipline it's going to take to survive this. But whether they have the discipline it takes to survive it or not, the system is what protects the peace. That's why I cared about the system more than some of the clients in that aspect, because it's just like I would give people time to talk. But at the same time, it's like, I know people want to talk. Some people don't want to talk. But at the same time, I do and don't want to listen in like a group bias, because it's my money playing a part in it. And it's like, if somebody saw a bias off of YouTube, then they're not even speaking from their bias. They're speaking from a bias of a person they don't fucking know either. That's why I don't want to know. Oh, but yeah, that's really all I got. That's how I look at everything. But it's very important to protect your mindset in this market, because the mindset is what gets you paid. And even when something doesn't work out, you got to realize it is working out too, because people say it's not selling, but they don't understand. They're missing the fact that we got a gift of getting the sale from a higher price point, if that makes sense. So although we'll have to load the account again, we haven't loaded this account in 14 days. So it's like I kind of walked it slow on that part, but at the same time, the last week and a half, we just finished up, all the other moving parts of this site. So there's nothing else to really focus on. So now I'm back into my habits of, working out each day, making sure that I get the appropriate amount of protein in. And it's like, how do I say? I manage myself just like I manage the accounts on. I know I will drink a soda. I'm not against drinking soda, but I know I shouldn't drink soda because I'm losing weight and stuff like that. So in order to stop myself from doing different situations, instead of worrying about controlling myself with soda in the house, I just don't buy soda. I just
Just buy bottles of Pellegrino and just mix in 0 carb, 0 sugar meal drink mix.
yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I haven't had the Mio in a while actually, but I just do Powerade and I just do regular Ozarka water, and it just works for me. Instead of me back in the day, like, I'm only gonna have 1 Coke a day. No, I'm not gonna control myself. But that's the same way in the market. If people don't, they say they're gonna control themselves, but I used to be the same. If I load that account, as soon as that account loaded, I don't know what it was. I used to just lose control. I was like, I want to push the button. So I get what they're going through, but it's not my job to manage their anxiety. I have to manage it, but also put them in their own little box so that they know how to control it without me. That's what I used to do to Austin. That millionaire in 2023, when the 9-month one, because he would text me, and I know he would be actively trading and stuff like that. but I could tell when it's an anxious text. So sometimes I would leave him to fester because I mean he needed to, and then he was one of my fastest millionaires. So he in the mix of November through like March, he didn't understand why I would leave him to fester. But then by July, when he's a millionaire, he's like, "Oh, it worked." I came. I'm like,
You
"Yes,"
know
because
what's
you
the
gotta.
interesting thing about you know what the interesting thing about facing yourself is when you feel like you're having a mental breakdown? When you get past it, everything becomes so quiet in your mind. There's just such less static in your mind. It's really true what they say. Your breakthrough is really past your breaking point.
Quite literally. That's kind of how I feel right now. I feel like everything has quieted down like these last couple of weeks because I mean the top of the year was crazy with everything. It's still a little crazy here and there. Like people, but people are one track minded. They don't know I still check on my sister and stuff every week, and I still, I'm not. It's almost like the U.S. versus the countries that can't defend themselves. I'm not going to pull out just because shit is settled now. Because when something is not settled, I'm going to have to get back in there. You know what I'm talking about? So I never officially pull out. I'm always, hey, you good? Hey, you good? Like every few days. At least once or twice a week, you know what I'm talking about? Because it's just like I don't know what's going on in her mind. I know what's going on in my mind in different situations, but it's like she got a different mind than mine. So I know sometimes with everything that happened with my mom, like I'd be a little like spazzy too, but I don't know if she know how to articulate it. So just in case she don't, I still just check. And that's how the countries are working as well. So it's like people feel like we don't need to be in certain areas, but it's necessary for one, their protection, but for the protection of our stability as an economy as well, because you could damn near say that we're backed by oil at the end of the day, and our military is nothing more than the enforcer. So it's just like I don't even understand now in 2026 why all these years people thought that there was even a situation of the dollar getting depegged at the end of the day. Like maybe in a few generations, possibly if we didn't printed enough money, but because we're damn near backed by oil, it's like we work in a deficit. And even that deficit that we work in being priced in oil, well, oil being priced in dollars, you can almost say that's how I'm trading my account too, because I'm trading negative numbers. The balance goes
Mm-hmm.
negative, but I'm not always out of trades. So it's like my big account flips. I feel like the magic doesn't get activated until that balance goes negative. But because I'm acting in a deficit on the account and my entry is so good, that's basically what the US is doing. But it's like I didn't even realize it until I'm like, man, I'm working in a deficit on the account. It almost tricks the system of thinking that because we're in a deficit that we're inflating the dollar is going to be worthless. But they don't understand that we really backed by gold and the black gold oil. They need us and we need them. It's a system of checks and balances. So
I
it's
like
all
that.
interesting to me. I love looking at this. I mean, but history was always one of my strongest subjects too. History repeats itself, and the market repeats itself, and the market has been doing the same thing since 2019. So I just like if I made my first million in 2019, and then it gets better every single year. Some years I wouldn't say they get worse, but they're not as good. Like 2018 wasn't my strongest. 2022 wasn't my strongest, but all the years in between and a bear market, like I would say that even the pattern from bullish market to bearish market, a bullish market could last 5 to 7 years, and a bearish one would be like 12 to 24 months. And at the longest, what was it? Yeah, I would say at the longest, maybe 24, and so on and so forth. It's just a matter of that. If I'm always going to think in an asset state of mind, because in every state of mind, something is an asset. It's just not what we thought it was.
Agreed. Well, I gotta get on a
Uh-huh.
conference call with a client of mine, but thank you so much. This was truly a good session.
No, you're good. Yeah, sorry about last week too. I
No,
forgot
you're
that.
good. It happens. You need, like I said, don't. I appreciate everything you do. Don't stretch yourself too thin. I'm getting absolutely everything you're saying, but when you need the rest, don't ever hesitate to rest. Because if you don't, trust me, your body will rest the fuck out of you.
I know. I think that's what happened the last couple weeks. I feel pretty good now. I've actually been waking up on time. But all right, I'll let you go. I'll see you this recording too in a bit.
Appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.